How's it going, YouTube? So this is the, forgive the shaky camera, the what the heck is in my rig video. Not that any of you asked about it or wanted to know, but it's a thing to do. So, as you can see, this is my primary plate carrier. This is an earlier generation BDS brand chest rig plate carrier. They have updated these. They've changed the design a little bit on them. So this style here, can't really get it anymore, but been reliable. I've had it probably 5-6 years now. Primary in the field. It's held up great. No complaints at all about it. I've got reviews on it somewhere else, so we're not going to be talking about that per se, but we're going to talk about what I've got going on with it and or in it. So, as you can see, I run dual saw pouches right now, and yeah, 6 PMags in there, 30 rounders, and yeah, there's a hex mag in there too, but just ammunition off to the side. Again, being a right-handed shooter, makes more sense to have the mags over on my left-hand side for reloading. Can reach right in there, grab those out. Do I have to fill that with magazines? No, I can put anything else in there, but for a heavy ammo loadout, I can put 6 in there, and I can double stack on here, giving me 2, 4, 6. 6, 6 is 12, plus 1 in the rifle, 13. Woohoo. You know, I could really go heavy if I hated myself and put like 6 more in there, but no. So usually what I'd run is, 4 or 6 in here, and then I single these. I just leave one magazine loaded in there. I can, again, double stack these if I want to, but that starts getting real thick on your front side as far as like if you have to go prone, lay down. I have the luxury, so to speak, because I can just leave these empty if I really wanted, save myself an inch or something of that nature. I like the saw pouches. Again, they're just really, really handy. And if you don't have one somewhere on your rig, I know not all rigs have any kind of, side paneling or just a front and back panel, shoulder pads, and a couple straps. But if you're able to run one on yours, I highly recommend at least running one. Again, I like to have 2. This one I had customized where it's on. I can't take that off. With this one, I can at least pull it off if I want to. This is just like a surplus, Marine Corps gig. That's an Eagle Industries. These were custom order off of eBay from an individual. And then I've got some Condor stuff here. And this guy's been emptied out. I'm kind of spilling the guts of what I keep in there. So I got 2 sets of spare earplugs, even though I do have other hearing systems that I wear for protection that fit under my helmet. These are a nice little backup. They just pop into your ear. They got a little cable on them that connects between the 2 ears. Got 2 sets just because I have 2 sets. I also have a little bit of face paint in there. I can't remember what company. It's like Bobby Wiener or something like that. It says Wiener, so it's funny. So, but yeah, you got ACU colors. Is it great for the field? Depending where you are, it might be better. But I put this stuff in plastic bags, obviously, so it's not rolling around loose, because, there's little spots where things can fall out, so having it in a bag keeps it nice and together. Spare batteries, because if you're running any kind of red dots, optics, lights, things of that nature, always a good idea to have extra batteries. Paint can lid opener is kind of like having your own little flathead screwdriver, but that bottom end there has a little curve on it. Something gets jammed in your rifle. You need to go digging around in there and prying around. One of those comes in really handy for that. So I would recommend. You could always put a little bit of string of some sort and tie it on your kit somewhere. I just keep it in my saw pouch. I got my red light. It's just like a cheap little $8 or $9 gig, and you can kind of stretch it out. So that's just a narrower beam. But yeah, red light is good for maintaining your night vision and things of that nature, your natural night vision. And then in here, got a spare set of medical gloves, binoculars, because, if you're not running any kind of high power optic, or even in my case, I might have a low power variable on something, it's still nice to have a nice set of binoculars. So all of this stuff here, I stick in this side of my saw pouch. So that's just odds and ends stuff that I might need. And then I keep my neck gaiter in there as well. So if I have to touch up face paint, I don't have to go into an assault pack or a backpack. And I don't like carrying stuff in my pants pockets because I always drop things out of my pants pockets. And it just feels weird having that stuff slapping around on your legs when they're in there. So I try to not put too much in pants pockets because that's where normally I think people just want to stick a lot of the stuff. Plus, like that paint can thing could be really fun to lay down on in your pants pocket. So that's what I kind of keep going on in there as far as that side. Because being a right-handed shooter, I'm not going to want to naturally draw from that side while I'm reloading my rifle. Because it's just kind of counterintuitive. I'm having to switch hands around and stuff. So I try to keep the ammo, as far as the mags and stuff like that, very much left-hand oriented, because that's where you're grabbing and reloading. So that's the philosophy on that. You could reverse this whole thing the other way around if you're left-handed, and God have mercy on you if you are. Tourniquet. I always have one up front on my plate carrier that's easily visible to anybody who might need to help me if I'm in a situation where I can't help myself, but it's also quick, convenient to have on there. And I always have these things preloaded. I don't leave them as they are from the factory. I kind of already set them up so when I pop that out, it's already a big hoop. All I have to do is put it around the limb and just rip it and twist it and then spin it around and be good to go. So I'm not having to run anything through anywhere or try. It opens up into a big circle like a belt, and it's already ready to go and just yank. So there's a way to put that together so that it's ready to go. I recommend looking up how to do that if you don't know. And then multi-tool, because everybody needs that. And then, any kind of maps or information that I need to keep goes in the admin pouch. As far as plates go, I don't want to drag my plates out, but I do run steel armor. I know people have opinions. I run these tactical scorpion gear. These are, they call them spall guards, but let's be honest, spall is when the plate itself fragments and splinters, breaks. That doesn't happen too often. What we tend to be dealing with is fragmentation of the bullets or projectiles themselves. Is there a perfect system against that? The answer is no. Ceramic is very good. The poly stuff's really good, but things happen. There's no 100% effective system on the market that's going to keep something from ricocheting or something from... All you can do is try to mitigate it to the best of your ability. So some companies, what they do with their steel armor is they have basically a heavy buildup material. I don't like getting the heavy buildup material. I get the base buildup because that rubber stuff is heavy. What I do is I get these and I put my plates in them. This back panel, it splits down the middle. You can kind of see right there. This has your back padding as far as, to absorb energy. So that rips off, opens up, you put your plate in there, stick it together. This, I don't want to call it Kevlar. Because that's like a DuPont thing, but there is a bullet-resistant fiber material like Kevlar in here to catch fragmentation off of any projectile that goes into it. Is it 100%? Nobody can say. Nobody can ever make that claim, but I run these on the front and back on my base build-up steel plates that are level 3+. Again, the poly stuff, the ceramic stuff, there's ups and downs on that. You make the decision that you need to make for yourself, okay? So that's the top half of things. On the back, I've got hydration carrier. I can run 3 liters of water on the back if I need to. But this is all chest. It's predominantly basic, ammunition needs, a little tiny bit of medical, some tools and other batteries and things that I'm going to need for, we'll call it tactical combat things, okay? And then again, hydration. I will say here, as far as with these magazine pouches here, like the Eagle Industries, you can fit M14 20-round magazines in there. You can fit AK 20-round magazines in there. Likewise with your saw pouches over here on the side, you can fit AK 7.62 by 39 20-round magazines in there. 30s? That starts getting a little questionable because they're taller, okay? So, if you're running a different platform, the M14s are a little tight in these. but these are a different brand. But the Eagle Industries, you can fit the M14s at least single stack. You can't double them, okay? But you can carry, and that's the thing. I've got an M14, I've got an AK, I've got ARs. So I want to be able to use these things without having to change them over and over and over again every time I plan to use a different, platform. So 20 round mags fit great in here. Just wanted to put that out there for you guys. Moving along then, we'll squish this stuff out of the way. Neck gaiter, love me some tiger stripe. So this is the battle belt. So this is the second level, all right? And this is a little bit different here. So I run an additional tourniquet. I like to have a tourniquet for each limb. So I've got one up on my plate carrier, fast access. Belt is the next fast access. So I even write on there, tourniquet. Because, as you can see, I want people to know what's in there if I can't get in there. So that's a med. I have my blood type on there. Nothing wrong with putting a little bit of black Sharpie on there. Nobody's going to see that from a distance. But as you see, I've got gauze in there. We've got my naso there for, pharyngeal airway stuff. We've got a bottle of iodine, which you don't have to have. Got an Israeli bandage in there. Got a 6-inch abdominal trauma bandage in there, and that wraps around the body and pulls tight. So that's meant for bigger traumatic wounds. I'm not saying you have to carry any of this. Just let me make that point very clear, guys. You got to set your kit up the way that you or your group or your team or whatever sets it up. This is just how I happen to have mine set up. Okay? I have a compass on here, tourniquet. These are secondary supplies. I carry a lot of med stuff, and you're going to laugh at me for that, but you can only fit so much in a traditional IFAK. And so this is not the first place that somebody's going to go for anything. This is additional gauze. This is additional, supplies like iodine, stuff like that. It's not your first thought when you're doing, tactical field care, of an injured individual or care under fire or anything of that case. Your tourniquets are going to be those are the things people are going to want to get to first and foremost if you have arterial bleeding or some kind of a wound on one of your limbs. Seals are kind of your next gig or whatever. But yeah, compass in here because it just doesn't hurt to have something to know where the heck you're going. So what's on here? As you see, there's nothing labeled on there. So what do I have going on? Because I haven't labeled it yet. I've got a splint and some blankets. It's a little, there's a gold one, there's some green ones in there. The foil blankets that people can wear. So again, this isn't like a first thing you're going to pouch, and that's why it's also kind of further on the back. I've kind of placed them in spots where, what's the access needed. This, I can pretty much put anything I want in here, but I have, see if I can get that open a little bit more. In a Ziploc plastic baggie, I have smoke grenades for the purposes of smoke. Okay, and I've got 3 in there, and they're in a plastic bag to keep them dry. I don't have anything in the front half of here, but if I had to, I guess I could put something in there. Moving on, got something here, nothing labeled on there. What is that, you might ask? That's my raincoat. Raincoat / windbreaker, low profile. It's like a Rothco. Yeah, you could put that in a salt pack. You could put that in a 3-day pack. You could put that in your... I like having it on my belt because it's just quick. Pop that out of there. Cause, if you're going to put a coat on, you're going to have to take your plate carrier off. You're going to have to take your belt off anyway to change those layers out. Typically, I would wear a raincoat underneath my camis because camis get wet. They get wet. But the raincoat will... Nice barrier between you and your camis. All that good stuff. But you might have your own idea on how you want to do that. But... something to stay dry, at least on your top half where your important organs are and stuff. Not a bad idea to do. So this is my current setup. I'm not saying it's permanent, that it couldn't change. This is just how I've got it going right now, guys. And just giving you an idea of things that you can do. Does everybody need to be running smoke? No. But doesn't hurt to have some. Does everybody have to have some extra blankets and a splint when you could just use a stick and duct tape? I mean, yeah, if you're a scout or something, you know how to deal with that stuff. But I thought it was nice to have something like this just readily available. I'm not the team med or anything like that, but I've got the supplies to work with, as needed, because I know most people don't carry a lot of these things. Got here a standard IFAK. It's bulky, but I've got 2 tourniquets in there. I'm not going to pull this whole thing out because it's a nightmare having to deal with that stuff. But chest seals, clotting agents. There's nasopharyngeal airway in there. Bandages, gauze. Stuff that's, again, when you're dealing with wounds, you either need to tourniquet, you need to pack depending on where you are. If it's, abdominal in the cavity, you got to seal it. I've got multiple seals. That type of stuff is all in there. Gloves, plastic bags to hold those things to keep them dry, but you can also use like those plastic baggies, like Ziploc bags, as makeshift seals. You just need some duct tape to go around them. There's, some great books online, from the military that will give you information on that as far as how to make those and work with those. Again, I've got blood type on here, and it's clearly marked as my IFAK with the red cross on there. So, the necessary things like shears and stuff like that to cut garments are in here. Your standard IFAK materials, and probably a little bit extra because I'm a hoarder, I guess. So, moving on. Last pouch here. This is my snack pouch, guys. This is my snack pouch. I've got granola bars in here. And some Band-Aids. Little boo-boo Band-Aid things. Nothing really serious on that. This is something that I carry around, whether or not you should. I'm not going to blur the brand on that. These are carbohydrate tablets, glucose tabs. Anybody that that might be hypoglycemic, diabetic in some variety, or if you get, if you're out in the field for a long time, start getting woozy when your blood sugar gets low, have a stick of these. They're cheap. And it's basically just straight up like glucose tablets, like just straight shot of sugar. They smell good. I haven't tried them before, but this is not a bad thing to have. Unfortunately, we live in an age where, we've got a lot of folks who are diabetic, pre-diabetic, hypoglycemic. We're not healthy, guys. We eat a lot of garbage. I'm getting back in shape doing the things I got to do, but something like this does not hurt to have on your kit. Because even if you're not any of those things and you're out in the field, like, yeah, you could shove some gummy bears, some Sour Patch Kids in there, something like, your snack stuff. But this is just straight sugar to the system to get you going. So, not medical advice. This is not medical. It's just sugar in a tube. Okay. So consider that if you want to have that. But if you got some guys that might be a little concerned about that, it doesn't hurt to have some of those things. That being said, guys, that's what I'm carrying. I'm not going to go through my assault kit bag or my 72-hour bag, because that's like toiletries and spare clothing and sleep systems attached on their food, additional water. It's nothing exciting or sexy or anything of that nature. So that's my kit, guys. That's what I'm running, what I'm carrying as far as just belt and plate carrier. Anything else, that's a different video for another time, but maybe this gave you some ideas on things to consider for your kit that you don't have on there. I know what you might be thinking too. Man, you got a lot of crap on your kit and that's got to weigh a ton. Yeah, it's a little heavy, but I try to make sure that anything I've got on my kit is something that I'm going to need. It's not necessarily something that I want. Tourniquets, I always carry 4 for a reason. I got 2 arms, 2 legs, and as far as like, you got to have something to snack on while you're moving. You got to keep, carbs and sugars and proteins and things like that in your system. You got to do that, especially, if you're like me, I'm going up and down mountains and valleys and things of that nature, burning a ton of calories running kit. Do I have to carry the smoke? No, but it can be fun sometimes. So there's certain things that are on there just for a whim right now, but some extra medical supplies that aren't heavy. This isn't heavy. It looks heavier than it is. This is very light setup, believe it or not, because most of this stuff hardly weighs anything. So that's my kit, guys. That's what I'm running. Just a baseline, as far as what you might want to think about or consider. Might help you, might not help you. You might say, hey, you forgot about something like this that you should do. So, hey, yeah, you got some feedback from me on what I should probably consider adding into my kit or replacing something in my kit with something different. By all means, throw that in the comments, guys. It's always good to have feedback from other folks because, at the end of the day, I'm a civilian. I'm not military trained. I was a scout. Okay, that's helpful. I can start a fire, things of that nature. But communication, feedback, constructive criticism, all of these things go a long way for us. Whether you're an airsoft or whether you're a prepper, whether you're a survivalist, whether you're more into patriot activities, things of that nature, or just you find it to be an interesting topic in general. That's what these things are for, guys. So, thank you. Again, you may not have even wanted to see this. You might be like, oh, gosh. But if you took the time to watch it, I appreciate you guys watching it. As always, stay safe. God bless you. And rock on. Stay free. Thanks.